Canned green beans can carry 200 times more sodium than the exact same fresh vegetable. Fresh green beans register essentially zero sodium. The canned version jumps dramatically higher instantly. This is grocery science. Here is exactly why that jump happens and how to avoid it. Vegetables are typically canned within hours of harvest, locking in freshness quickly. Fresh green beans naturally contain essentially 0 milligrams of sodium per serving. Salt is added during canning primarily for flavor, along with a mild preservative function. Canned green beans can jump to roughly 2.1 grams of sodium per kilogram. Canned corn and canned peas generally follow a broadly similar sodium increase pattern. Frozen vegetables generally maintain sodium levels much closer to their fresh counterparts. Comparing canned, frozen, and fresh versions directly reveals a clear, consistent sodium pattern. No salt-added canned vegetables generally show sodium levels much closer to fresh produce. Draining and rinsing canned vegetables before use reduces sodium content by a modest amount. Combined draining and rinsing removes roughly 9 to 23% of sodium, depending on vegetable. Green beans showed a comparatively smaller sodium reduction benefit from rinsing among tested vegetables. Choosing no salt added labeling remains the single most effective sodium reduction strategy available. Most cans use an internal lining to prevent metal from directly touching the vegetables. Bisphenol A, known as BPA, was historically a common component of many can linings. Trace amounts of BPA can migrate from certain linings into canned food over time. Regulatory agencies, including the FDA, currently classify approved BPA use as safe within set limits. The majority of canned vegetables from major manufacturers now use non-BPA can linings. Checking packaging for a BPA-free claim helps identify these updated lining formulations. Nutrient retention generally follows a pattern, with fresh highest, frozen close behind, and canned lower. Canned broccoli retains roughly 50% of certain nutrients compared to fresh broccoli. Water-soluble vitamins like vitamin C are the most vulnerable to loss during canning heat. Canning tomatoes actually increases the bioavailability of lycopene, a beneficial plant compound. Canned vegetables remain a genuinely useful and convenient nutritional source within a balanced diet. BPA-free labeling and sodium content remain the two details most worth checking together. Farm Fresh claims describe sourcing timing, not the sodium content added during processing. Picked at peak ripeness claims address harvest timing, not the final sodium content. Health-sounding icons and colors do not always reflect the actual sodium content underneath. Serving size print is often smaller than the sourcing claims printed above it. Flipping the can over remains the fastest way to verify any front label claim. A natural label claim does not guarantee the absence of citric acid or calcium chloride. Checking sodium content directly matters more than trusting any front label sourcing claim. Comparing several brands side by side often reveals surprisingly large sodium differences. Some products labeled all natural still contain meaningful added sodium per serving. Farm imagery and sourcing language strongly shape perceived healthiness, independent of sodium content. Check for no salt added labeling, check for BPA-free packaging, and rinse before use. Choosing no salt added versions meaningfully lowers overall sodium intake from canned vegetables. Draining and rinsing standard canned vegetables removes a modest but meaningful amount of sodium. Adding canned vegetables to soups or stir-fries makes them easy to incorporate regularly. Choosing frozen vegetables as an alternative addresses sodium concerns while retaining strong nutrition. A few extra seconds reading the label can meaningfully change what ends up on the plate. So that jump from fresh to canned really is that dramatic. Now you can check it yourself. No salt added labeling brings canned vegetables back down close to fresh sodium levels. Sodium content and can lining remain the two details most worth checking together. That understanding gives you a real choice, rather than just a convenient one. At Grocery Science, we examine food through evidence, not to generate fear. Next time, we were wrong about margarine for 60 years, and here is what changed. Thank you for watching Grocery Science. Stay curious, stay informed,